All right, U3 Sports Talk. Thank you for joining us for our maiden voyage. Tonight, we're going to spend some time talking about the NFL. We're going to talk about some of these games this past weekend, but also we're going to spend some time talking about these NFL coaching hires. In light of today, obviously today is Dr. Martin Luther King's holiday, and obviously as the progressive person that he was, we have to ask the question in the NFL in 2021, where's the progress? So if we're looking at these coaching hires, as of now, of all the openings, only one person of color has been hired thus far, and that's Robert Saleh with the New York Jets. And we need to, really do a deep dive and have some conversation about where things are and where things are going. So I want to open the floor with the first question to the panel. What happened?
Well, to be honest, what happened is what's been happening. That's always been an issue as far as the NFL mentality. I think we have to look at, what does the NFL represent? I mean, the elephant in the room about the NFL is that it's a plantation type, has a plantation type feeling to it. So, with that being said, how many black head coaches does the league want in the NFL? Because what you have is now you have qualified black head coaches or potentially head coaches fighting for the same job and still ultimately losing the job before they even get an opportunity to interview for the job. I think the NFL is going so analytical that they're getting these college guys, pretty much college students who are smart in math and analytics, and putting them on their team. I mean, look at the Rams with McVay.
Right.
Does McVay make it out of that? I mean, how soon would he have gotten a job if he made it out of LA before and didn't get hired? I mean, if they brung him in first, then of course they weren't going to look at nobody else. I think that's it, and I'm gonna be quiet about it, but I just think the league is more satisfied with a candidate narrative of they're qualified out there, but it's ultimately up to these teams to do what they want to do.
And Sean McVay is an interesting point because Sean McVay, before he became the head coach with the Rams, was the offensive coordinator for Washington for 3 years. And I don't know if you guys remember, but those Washington teams didn't necessarily have these beautifully explosive offenses that we're seeing today. So when you look at Sean McVay and you say, okay, well, he at least served some time as an offensive coordinator before he became a head coach. And then you fast forward and you look at someone like Eric Bieniemy, who's obviously coordinating the most fun and most powerful offense in the NFL in Kansas City. And the word is that he's not going to get a job this go round after being passed over the last go round, even though his offenses that he coordinates are ranked in the top 5. It begs the question, what's going on? And Cisco, I want to come to you and get your thoughts on, where things are and why they're going the way they're going.
So there's a couple of things that you can say, right? So out of the current NFL coaches, I don't know if I'm having too much of an echo. Can you guys let me know if I have too much feedback?
Yeah, you're fine.
Okay, so there's several ways you can look at it, right? So out of the current head coaches that are currently in the league, all of them came from a tree. very rarely do you see a college quarterback, black college quarterback, get automatically picked up to coach an NFL team. That only seems to happen for one particular race. But as far as Ron Rivera, Mike Tomlin, Leslie Frazier, Tony Dungy, Raheem Morris, they've all come from very distinguished coaching trees.
Right.
So I think, it's all about comfortability. Like, it's just, who are you more comfortable with in a room? When it's you and the other person and you have to make a game time and you have to make a decision, who are you more comfortable with?
And I get that, and I hear that. And again, I guess, the greater issue has been, which probably hasn't been talked about enough on ESPN and some of the other mainstream media sites, is the fact that there's very little to no diversity at the highest level of the NFL and the ownership groups. And until the NFL makes it a priority to make sure that there is a black or a person of color in a majority ownership seat, I don't know if things are going to change. It's like you're saying, Cisco. There's a comfortability there, but for the longest time we heard the excuses, and the excuses were always, well, the league is trending more towards offense than defense. So, and you really don't have that many coaches of color on the offensive side of the ball, who obviously are getting in at the top of the list for these teams to hire, and now. You look at even just this coming weekend with the 4 teams in the conference championship games, you got 4 coordinators, black coordinators, in those 4 games, and none of those guys are even considered or being highly considered for head coaching positions in the NFL. And that's a major, major problem. And we have to ask ourselves, what is the issue and why the Rooney Rule in general seems not to be working. And so, J Mac and Cisco, I want to put that out to you. Why do you all think the rule as isn't working?
I'll let you take that, Cisco.
So let me take it from a coach's perspective. My only issue with that is that I don't want to be hired based on my skin tone. I don't want to be hired because of some rule. I want to be hired because my resume is better than this person's resume, and therefore I know, and then I'll get the job. You ask any NFL coach, you ask any NCO in the military, you ask anybody that's anything at a high level, that's what they want to be known as. So it's almost like a double-edged sword. It comes to a point to where, that's really, like you said before, if there's not enough diversity at top, it's not going to trickle down.
Yeah, to piggyback a little bit, here's the deal. That is the black coach disparity in the NFL is a issue. It is a problem, but the awareness of it continues to be in the foreshadows of other things in the NFL. I mean, we can glorify, the few black quarterbacks we have, and they'll hide the attention that our potentially black head coaches should have these opportunities. And speaking of Bieniemy, I do believe Philly is interested. I'm going to be paying attention to that one, because I actually believe that would be a good hire for Philly, unless they've changed their mind in the last couple of days. But that's what I'm hearing, that Bieniemy is wants the Eagles want to interview Bieniemy.
Right, and I know the Eagles have talked about the possibility of talking to Todd Bowles as well, if they haven't already talked to Todd Bowles. But apparently they're looking at Josh McDaniels. But even if we want to take the situation or the conversation further, if you're a coaching candidate and you're looking at the two openings that are still open right now, which Philly's still open, obviously, you have Houston that's still open. If you're just outside looking at those two situations, are those ideal situations to start your head coaching career, given the mess that Philly is in right now with Carson Wentz and with their cap? And in flip side, Houston, you don't know if Deshaun Watson is going to even be there if you take that job. So, we could go further with this conversation, but I just think there's so many layers to this thing that we're not unpacking yet. And I went back and I was looking at when the Rooney Rule was instituted. So the Rooney Rule was instituted in 2003. It was right after the season after Tony Dungy and Denny Green were both fired from Tampa Bay and Minnesota, respectively. Both guys had winning records. Both guys had been to conference championship games. Both guys had a great deal of success, and they were let go. And you weren't seeing, and it was a big issue because, again, these were two of the better head coaches in the NFL getting fired, and both of them ultimately ended up getting second opportunities, but you weren't seeing, the pool of candidates getting, recognized in the space of being legit candidates. And now where we seem to be is, when these teams have openings, they seem to just simply be doing interviews for token reasons or just to satisfy the requirement of the rule. And again, I think there's several things that we can look at, we could talk about that may be the fix, but I'm really, really concerned when, again, 70% of your league is African American in terms of players, but you have no African Americans in ownership. You have right now you have 3 general managers who are African American, possibly 4 depending on who Atlanta hires, and they seem to be targeting Terry Fontenot from the Saints. But this is a big problem, and I don't think it's being taken seriously enough to find the fix. So I guess the question for you guys is, is this going to get fixed anytime soon, or do you have any sense that this thing is going to get better anytime soon?
Yeah, I think it will. I think the Rooney Rule has some holes in it from the beginning, especially because you can require the league to interview at least one diverse candidate, but I don't believe in the beginning of the Rooney Rule they specified internal that's already in the organization or external outside of the organizational candidates. And I think they changed that since then to where you have to interview at least one external candidate. I just think that we should be optimistic about it because awareness in today's sports are so important. Like just for instance, like we're talking about it now. If more people were talking about it, this affects the NFL's pockets, and especially now where race is still still involved in in decision making in sports, and whether we like it or not. I just believe the more the black coaches or all minority coaches put more on their resume as coordinators, as up and comings, and we bring more exposure to them, then I believe that it can trend that way. But here's the thing, like I was saying, we have to do as far as minority candidates. I believe there's still things that they can do to stand out even more. They can be analytical as well. They can bring balance to the game. They can bring more creativity to the game. And I just think that if we're going to push for it, we need more platforms that give these coaches even a better look and a more look from other people instead of you just hearing from a regular article just out of the blue, like 2 days before something happens. You're hearing Eric Bieniemy is not being considered among, doesn't look like he's going to get a head coaching job. Well, these talks come up towards when decisions are already made, but these articles and the information doesn't come out during the process as much unless you do some digging. And the average fan is not going to do all of that. They're just going to, they wait till they hear and see articles, and then they, speak their opinions how they like or dislike. But this decision has already been made.
Cisco, you want to chime in?
So I guess one thing too is just kind of put it in context, right? That's always what we're trying to do, is putting things in context. As far as I'm tracking it, since 1920 something, or 1919, whatever, there's been approximately 500 head coaches in the NFL. Out of those 500, I'm counting 20: Fitz Pollard, Marvin Lewis, Hugh Jackson, Dennis Green, Lovie Smith, Mike Singletary, Herm Edwards, Ray Rhodes, Jim Caldwell, Art Schnell, Todd Bowles, Vance Joseph, Steve Wilkes, Romeo Cornell, Raheem Morris, Leslie Frazier, Mike Tomlin, Brian Flores, and formerly Anthony Lynn. I think that's 20, if I'm counting that right. It's 500 coaches, 20 of them black. So, I mean, I personally don't think it's going to change. It's not going to change, bro. It's just not going to change. It's just not. It can't. I should say it can't. I just don't think so. Maybe 25 years from now, okay, maybe. But no, it's not going to change. It's just not.
I think what's really interesting and what's not happening, and I want to put an idea out to you guys and get your thoughts on it. So, when these teams are interviewing candidates, it appears that there's no one in the room that is unbiased. For example, the NFL has a diversity and inclusion office. Someone from that office should be sitting in on all of these interviews, not in necessarily an active capacity, but in an observatory capacity, so they can review and they can say, okay, here's what seems to be happening in these interviews. Again, you come to an interview, you're sitting in a room as a head coach candidate, you're wondering if you're being asked the same questions that the previous guys or other guys are being asked, because again, you're not getting the opportunities, you're not getting the callbacks, you're not getting the cream of the criminal of the creme jobs or whatever. And so again, there should be somebody sitting in that room from the diversity and inclusion office who's making sure that these interviews are happening on an even plane. I want to get your thoughts on that. And again, Cisco, I'll come to you first.
Was that to me?
Yeah, I'll come to you first.
So you got to look at it two ways, right? So first way of looking at it is what? Hey, I'm a CEO, I'm a multi-billionaire. I'm here I got this money because of hey, I've done X, Y, and Z. So you're not going to tell me who I can hire, who I can't hire, right? And technically, the NFL commissioner is supposed to work for the owner. Is that correct? Am I?
Yes. Yes, he does.
So it's almost like, hey, man, who are you to tell me what to do? I understand you're the commissioner, but I'm the owner, or I own this team, and I'd be damned if they're gonna pull it away from me. I mean, to add on, not to really, I guess, answer your question, but to add on to that is like how many coaches of minorities? I'm not talking about just black, I'm talking about minorities. Black, Asian, Hispanic, whatever. How many of them have had a second chance? Off the top of your head, Leslie Frazier hasn't, which by the way, he's on the AFC Championship team. Ray Rhodes didn't get another one that I'm tracking. My problem is that, hey, how come certain coaches are getting repeat after repeat chances to fail, and while a particular group only get one shot, and that's it. and then they go back to being an OC or DC.
Right.
So I don't know if I answered your question or if I even brought any validity to that point, but maybe I was just complaining.
Yeah, no, I mean, and this is certainly, there's certainly some serious thought that needs to be given to what you just said, because again, you're wondering about, if these guys are getting second chances. Marvin Lewis hasn't gotten a second chance yet. Marvin Lewis took a Bengals franchise that was morbid, to be frank, and made them a contender. Did they win a playoff game when he was there? No, but they were much better off when he was there than they are now. So, and he hasn't gotten a second chance yet. And so, and J Mac, I want to come to you on this and get your thoughts on, not just what I said, but also what Cisco said, and see where you are with it.
Now I understand where Cisco is coming from. Bringing it back to about having the notion that things are not going to change. I mean, it's been a pretty consistent history with the NFL. If you're looking for minority coaches to get second chances, you can forget about it. It's like minority coaches in college coaching a storied school after their longtime coach has left. The leash is very short, and you're expected to win now. And that's the only shot you got. But I'll say this: it's not okay. But again, like Cisco says, this has been going on forever. If it's expected, then we have to come up with more creative ways to change that. Maybe it's going to take a coach to go ahead and win starting out. Let's say Bieniemy does go to Philly. Philly's not, to me, is not in that much of a mess. Trade Carson Wentz, upgrade your receiving core. In that offensive line, they still have talent. But I just think that the way the system is set up, the interviewing processes, the way they hire their coaches inside the organization. If it's my organization, why do I have to hire them? And if I am hired, if I'm the coach, if I'm the coach that's applying for the job and I am hired, well, why did they hire me? Did they hire me because they needed to reach their numbers, the quota, so they won't look bad, so they can say they did it? Or are they hiring me because they believe that I can help take their franchise to a winning championship type franchise, a relevant franchise, respected, as far as making their franchises relevant. So I just believe that on both ends of the stick that we both have things that we have to do to ensure that the wrongs stop being wrongs and they switch over to rights. How that happens, again, just bringing more awareness to it. Plus, we need that breakout coach, that gets it done.
Yeah, but I mean, again, let's look at Mike Tomlin if we want to use a breakout coach as an example. Mike Tomlin has been in Pittsburgh, 13 years, never had a losing record. And maybe Pittsburgh's not the best example because Pittsburgh they are the model of consistency. That this franchise has had 3 head coaches in 50 years. If that's not the model of consistency, I don't know what is. And what's really interesting is, Dan Rooney, who the Rooney Rule was named after, didn't hire Mike Tomlin as a part of the Rooney Rule. They had actually satisfied the requirement of the Rooney Rule when they interviewed Ron Rivera before they ended up hiring Mike Tomlin. but they were willing to take a chance on a guy who they thought was really dynamic. He kind of came out of left field for a lot of Pittsburgh fans because they were expecting, that Ken Whisenhunt or Mike Munchak would probably get the job because those guys had been, affiliated with the organization for some time. But there are a lot of Mike Tomlins out there. They're just not getting the opportunity. And again, I don't want to take anything away from what Mike Tomlin's done. He's been, one of the top football coaches in the NFL coaches, in his time in Pittsburgh. But if guys like him aren't getting the opportunity, and again, we see it presumably because you're seeing, these coordinators who are paying their dues. And again, I'm going to go back to Eric Bieniemy. What more does a guy like Bieniemy have to do to say, hey, I'm the guy? It just seems like the goal line and the goalpost is being moved when we get to talking about candidates of color for these opportunities.
So there's two things, right? One, if I'm an NFL owner looking at Eric Bieniemy, I want to see how he does without Mahomes. Like Rob Saleh, if he didn't get a job this year, there's a serious problem because every one of his stars went down, every one of them for a time. Basically, for Fred Warner, I think Fred Warner played all 16 games.
Right.
If I'm an NFL owner, I'm cautious. I'm like, hey, let me look what this guy does. Especially if Patrick Mahomes does not play next game, then they still do the same thing. That works for me. And then again, part of that is, hey, look, how much is that Andy Reid? How much is that him?
Yeah, and I think again, it's kind of a bit of an unfair narrative because they didn't say the same thing before Doug Peterson got an opportunity or Matt Nagy. Like, is it Andy Reid or is it those guys? And obviously Doug Peterson goes on to Philadelphia, wins the Super Bowl, and Matt Nagy has done an okay job. I mean, in Chicago, I think he's done okay, but it didn't seem like that was the narrative with those guys, and now it seems to be the narrative with Bieniemy. So again, I go back to why does it seem like the goalpost is being moved constantly? And again, the initial thought a few years ago was, well, again, you don't have these candidates of color who are coaching on the offensive side of the ball. The NFL is trending more to the offensive side of the ball. And again, a team like the Jets looks at Robert Saleh. They says this guy can be our guy. He can be a leader for our organization and for our franchise. And clearly, he's shown that he's got the capacity to lead men into games and get them ready to play, regardless of the situation. To your point, Cisco. So again, I think we're going to have to look at this really closely. Again, there are only two openings left, Philadelphia and Houston. The reason why, Philly may have some issues, because again, if you're a head coach and you're walking in, do you really think you can fix, what happened last year with Carson Wentz? And again, they're going to be they're going to have some salary cap issues in Philly as well. I think they're projected $75 million over the cap going into next season. So they're getting ready to go through a major change. And, and how patient, is Jeffrey Lurie, the owner, going to be, with, all of this turnover getting ready to happen. And then again, in Houston's case, Deshaun Watson appears like he's out the door. It's just a matter of time. So, why would Eric Bieniemy want to take that job when that organization is essentially a dumpster fire outside of Deshaun Watson? So I don't know. I'm really curious to see what's going to happen with this thing. And before, we, try to close this conversation around, any other thoughts or ideas around, what can be done?
I would just think about the Pittsburgh narrative, right? 3 coaches in 50 years, right? 3 in 50 years. How are they going to feel if the league makes them, the league is not going to be able to make them change who they've been the whole time. So I believe that minorities will start getting the jobs from organizations that are less stable with their coaching hires. And I also think we should take a look at, to your point, Sean, does the organization match the head coach's skill set? Because when we start looking when we're talking about digging deeper, when coaches' philosophies matches what the organization is used to doing and they still don't get hired, now we got something. That's it.
And this is kind of a spur of the moment thing. Martin Luther King said, we have to be able to, pull ourselves up by our bootstraps, and we have to do that part. So I don't understand why more NFL players. I guess the opportunity hasn't presented itself, or in the availability of teams. Because once you get a team, you tend to be with that team for 25, 30 years, and unless they're a dumpster fire. I shouldn't say that because the Lions are a dumpster fire, and they've always been a dumpster fire. Why aren't some of these former NFL players, former NFL coaches, doing like Derek Jeter did and form a group, an investment group, to take ownership stake into some of these teams that are available?
Right.
That's one way we can kind of change the narrative.
Right.
You've made so many millions of dollars. I understand. Not everybody has everything, but you have those that are successful. You have the GMs, you have the former GMs, you have those that have made plenty of money. You can form a collective group, try to purchase a majority or minority stake in the NFL team that's available, and go from there. That would be the number one way. If you want to change something, you start with ourselves, and we kind of follow what Derek Jeter did, and what I believe what's his name? Your favorite player, Sean, that was on the Yankees. A-Rod tried to do.
Yes. So to your point, Cisco, if you guys remember in the early 90s, Walter Payton tried to do the same thing. When the NFL was looking at expanding, I believe he got involved with the group that was trying to put an expansion team in St. Louis at the time. And obviously the NFL decided to put teams in Jacksonville and in Charlotte, North Carolina. But we haven't necessarily seen that. And I was thinking back to, when's the last time a person of color with money tried to buy into an NFL team? And there was a guy in the mid 2000s who was trying to buy the Vikings from Red McCombs. He made his money in the aviation world, and he went through such a scrutinized process for how he had earned his money that he basically said, forget about it. And again, there was some questions about whether or not anybody else had ever gone through this trying to, purchase an NFL team. So, I just think the infrastructure of the league itself, is a big part of the problem. And again, it's, I don't know if it'll ever change, if it'll change until we diversify or till we see diversity in the owner's box. And I don't know how many guys are generally and genuinely interested in, purchasing NFL teams. There was some talk around when Jay-Z got involved with the league last year, that he was doing so, or not last year, but the year before last, he was doing so because, he was interested in trying to get into owning an NFL team. Again, that hasn't come to fruition yet. But, we'll see. I'm really curious to see where this thing ultimately ends up going. And I'm almost certain this will not be our last conversation about it. So, but moving on to this past weekend, we had 4 playoff games. Want to spend a little bit of time just kind of looking back on those games. Want to start with the first game, Green Bay and Rams. Green Bay ended up winning the game 32-18. Want to get your guys' thoughts on the game. Anything surprise you? Anything expected happened in the game? Also kind of want to look at the Jalen Ramsey Devontae Adams matchup because that was the matchup that was hyped going into that game, and want to get your thoughts on it.
Go ahead and see if you got something to say.
Okay. Yeah, I expected a lot. Pretty much everything I expected to happen. I had already predicted Green Bay, winning. I actually had them winning, getting this far all year. I just thought that Aaron Rodgers was always going to have something to prove this year. And he's been pretty consistent all year. The team has been pretty consistent. Aaron Jones had a very good game, 99 yards on 14 carries. I believe that helped a lot with the flow of the offense. The offensive line for the Green Bay surprised me, even though I'm not sure if the Rams defensive line was all that healthy. But I actually think it was a great game, great coaching job. It's pretty much what I expected.
I hate both teams, so we can move on from me. I do respect Aaron Rodgers because he's a Cali kid, no doubt. How many years have I lamented over or steamed over the fact that we did not draft him first, but that's neither here nor there. But I hate both teams.
Right, we being the 49ers, of course, but yes.
Yeah, they couldn't tell by the pitch in the back. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, yeah, so, again, I that was the one game I thought was going to be a potential upset. I thought the Rams defensively, I thought defensively they actually had a really good game plan going in, particularly against Devontae Adams. They let Jalen Ramsey basically shadow him most of the game. They pulled a couple of things out of the hat. The double motion, play when Devontae Adams caught his touchdown pass, quick touchdown pass. And again, Devontae Adams caught 9 balls, but they I think saved for the touchdown and one other catch. Really didn't have a lot of big plays or impact plays. So they kind of did a decent job of keeping him in check. I thought the Rams would do a better job of running the football. I was kind of surprised they didn't run the football better. But again, part of it was they were kind of playing, in a hole. And Aaron Donald clearly he clearly looked like he was not 100%. Because he didn't get any pressures, at all. And I thought he was the guy. If he were at his best, they could really upset that Green Bay team. But J-Man, you got something on that?
Oh, he got hit. He got hurt the week before.
Right.
Was it ribs?
Yeah, it was ribs.
And it looked like he was hurting pretty bad. I know some players can recover from that, pretty quickly, but as aggressive as he usually is, you could just tell he just wasn't himself. And that hurt because Aaron Rodgers is one of the best. He throws one of the best footballs I've ever seen.
Right.
To me, even with Mahomes doing what he's doing, to me, Aaron Rodgers throws a better football.
Right.
I mean, it's just, we can argue. Other quarterbacks is fine. I'm fine with that. Even if he throws 5 interceptions next week, to me, Aaron Rodgers throws one hell of a football. And if he's protected, he's going to eat you alive.
Right.
He's going to eat you alive. That play action pass in the fourth was set up so beautifully because I'm almost certain the Rams expected them to try to run the clock out.
Right.
And it was just a genius play call. And it was wide open and it caught them totally off guard.
Right. One of the big things about Matt LaFleur going into Green Bay, everybody said this about him going into Green Bay, was that he really did not he didn't want Aaron Rodgers changing too many plays at the line of scrimmage, because a lot of what he calls early in the game is really to set you up later in the game. So the Rams had seen that same look earlier in the game. And to your point, MC, he made a move. He made a decision to go back to that same look. And of course, the Rams expecting run because they were expecting, like you said, for Green Bay to run the clock out. That play action late in the game, was basically the nail in the coffin. But, I think that's kind of the thing that, sets Matt LaFleur apart, is that he tends to he sets you up, with a lot of his play designs and a lot of the formation and looks that they give you, during the game. So, it was a good game plan by Green Bay. I will say they used that three-headed monster at running back with Jones, Williams, and Dillon very well. And again, Aaron Rodgers made some key throws. He made some great throws in the game, but I thought a lot of it had to do with the fact that they really used their backs, very well on Saturday. So, Cisco, you got anything else on it? I know you hate both teams, but you got anything else on it?
I just want to agree with Jay Mack and say, hey, when Aaron Rodgers throw that ball, that thing party. I mean, it's party.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just it looks like it's no effort at all,
Right.
but it zips, and that thing is
slingshot.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you. I mean, it's like there's very few. I mean, I know this wasn't the point of the topic, but
No, you're
but as far as like people throw a pretty ball, Warren Moon threw a beautiful ball.
Yes.
Say what you want about Jay Cutler, but that man had arm talent. He could sling it.
Yeah.
And then Aaron Rodgers. I put Aaron Rodgers above Jay Cutler, and even Matt Stafford. You had to give Matt Stafford his credit.
Right.
That's about it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure if you think deep enough, there's probably some others, but
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but yeah.
But that thing when he throws it, it's like, how in the hell did he make that throw?
Right. And there was some time. Go ahead, man. Go ahead, MC.
Yeah, Mahomes is not far behind him. He throws a hell of a football too. He has a slingshot on him too.
Yeah.
The thing about Rodgers is, if confidence was a object or something you can actually see or touch, it'd be him, because he commands his team. You could just tell he's out there in control.
Right.
In his football, it's not going to always go his way, but I want a quarterback that confident on my squad.
Right.
He's not afraid to make the crazy throws. I know he's had past issues where he doesn't want to hurt his completion percentage, so he throws the ball away. Well, I'm okay with that. Throw it away instead of throwing it to the other team.
Right.
I don't care. Whoever plays Madden, I guess, don't they throw the ball away? He's just a great quarterback. The team overall, good team win. It's gonna be tough next week though. But that's a wrap.
Yeah, well, we'll get to that certainly, a little later in the week. But want to pivot to the Saturday night game, the Buffalo-Baltimore game that Buffalo ended up winning 17-3. I got to say, I'm glad I don't bet, because if I did, I'd have been over 2 on Saturday, because I took Baltimore in that game. But just want to get you guys' thoughts on the game, and in particular, the narrative around, did Lamar Jackson lose that game for the Ravens? And Cisco, I'll come to you first.
So I like Lamar Jackson. I love his attitude. I love his drive. I love everything about him, except when it comes to throwing that football. And you can do whatever you want, or whatever you can through the regular season. You can do all that. That's great stuff. You look good, brother. You look good. But when it comes down to those playoffs and you're playing those elite teams, you have to be able to stand in the pocket for a few more seconds, or be able to manipulate, because you have fast feet. Everybody knows that. You have to be able to manipulate that pocket, and you have to be able to throw. You don't have to be the most accurate person. You don't have to be Aaron Rodgers with it, but you at least got to be. I don't want to say Deshaun Watson because he's a top tier quarterback, but you got to be at least Matt Ryan. If he can do what he does and become Matt Ryan with his arm, whoo, Ravens winning big time, or AKA as the way President Trump says, bigly.
MC, your thoughts?
Buffalo was a better football team that night. On that night, Buffalo was a better football team. Allen was the better quarterback. Diggs was the better receiver. The play calling. Actually, I was in favor of Baltimore with the play calling. I don't think Lamar Jackson played bad because to me he didn't. He made that mistake. It was a hell of a play on that interception, but you just can't have that. You just cannot have that play. But that didn't ultimately kill them because they still had more time to recover. Him going down hurt the team pretty bad. Because you're putting in a backup that hasn't played.
Right. I mean, he was a practice squad guy.
Yeah, I mean, but
I mean, if you look at that last pass, and to me, that last pass he made where I think it was Hollywood or Brown. It was Brown, whatever his name is. You could tell the wind took that one. The way it went up and then off it kind of
it kind of carried in the wind. Yeah.
So he hits that. I mean, to me, he was making. And I understand that Buffalo's probably giving up everything up in the middle and underneath. I got that part, but he hits that pass. It's a different story. I mean, it's like, hey man, this guy he could throw. He did pretty well. He threw to the open guy. He didn't do too much. I thought he played for a practice squad guy. I thought he played great.
Right. Yeah.
In that situation, you can't ask much more than that. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
My bad.
No. And I wanted to ask you, MC, because I know you played receiver, and I went back and I watched the interception that Lamar threw, and I thought he was going to Mark Andrews, the tight end. I didn't think it was a good route by Mark Andrews in that I didn't think he needed to go that deep on the route. I thought he should have sat down on the route a little sooner because it wasn't 4th and goal. They were in, basically they would have had, multiple opportunities to try to score. So when I went back and I watched it, I thought Mark Andrews went too deep on his route for where that safety was sitting, and that had Mark Andrews cut the route off sooner and shorten the route some, that it would have been an easier throw, an easier lane for Lamar, particularly because he didn't see Teron Johnson sitting underneath where he did because of the depth that Mark Andrews ran the route. But I want to get your thoughts on that.
No, Mark Andrews went where he's supposed to go. The problem is, if you look, once he got in the end zone, and he stops to turn around and find an open spot, there's 4 Bills.
There's 4 Bills, yeah.
It's 4 of them.
Right.
So the only chance that play had successful working is if he throws that ball super low where can't nobody catch it, because that little zone pocket where Andrews was trying to get to,
right,
you'd have to already. It was just a bad read by the quarterback. You'd have to already have. Lamar would already have to be throwing the ball, and the guy who intercepted it was honing in on Lamar. He was spying Lamar the whole time. He was looking at Lamar.
He was looking at Lamar's eyes.
He knew where Lamar was going.
Right.
Lamar had made his mind up, and Andrews, at best, could have had a chance of knocking the ball out of the other guy's hands. But it was just a bad play.
Okay.
Because I think that was Brown making a corner play.
Yeah.
On the right hand side.
Yes.
Left side, I think.
Yeah, he had the
Correct,
better.
correct.
He had the better chance of completing that pass because you got the whole back of the end zone.
Right.
That pass that Lamar was trying to make. I mean, very few quarterbacks. Or if Andrews goes more towards the back of the end zone, he has a better chance of getting away from those underneath defenders.
Right.
So yeah, just bad read.
But so but that's where he has to change, right? Because that's the defense against him. Crowd the middle, force him to go outside.
Right.
Yeah.
Of course.
Contain the pocket. You don't have to necessarily. I don't think there's anybody who's, unless you're a DB, you're not gonna spy Lamar Jackson. It just ain't gonna happen because if you're just as fast as him, he's too quick. He's gonna juke you out your kneecaps. But if you that's the crowd the middle. That play is a go-to play. You know, you see Andrews on that inside, he's streaking up and going to the skinny post, and they throw it up, and he normally catches that ball, plants his 2 feet in, and then I have to hear Ravens fan, screaming how he's the best tight end in the fucking NFL, whatever. But that's the read on. He has to change that part.
Right.
He has to develop.
Right.
Now, I don't know. I don't think they did him any service by hiring Greg Roman. I don't think they did any service with that at all. If they perhaps get it, this is where I would tell John Harbaugh, hey, look toward those college ranks, pick up some of those guys so you can pick up some of those schematics that he's probably more familiar or more comfortable with in throwing outside the numbers. And I would go from there.
So I guess go ahead, sister.
I have the interception pulled up. You guys want to watch it? I don't know if we have to give credit to whoever we got credit to, but
well, we can, but I did want to just chime in. I wanted to go to your point about Greg Roman, and I guess because you know Greg Roman better than anybody on this panel. As a play designer, throwing the ball outside the hashes, is he that guy? Because again, I think his run game, I think their offense in between the hashes, and again, they run a lot of the stuff similar that they ran in San Francisco with Kaepernick, with Lamar. A lot of the stuff between the hashes in terms of the run game, and again, using the tight end the way they do, the way they use Vernon Davis in that. We want to, definitely, definitely want to, give that some props. But let's see. Hold on a second.
JR.
Yo, what's up?
Hey, JR, meet you, my homeboy Sean and J Mac. I've known these guys since
What's happening?
I had hair.
JR, you've been listening to the conversation, I guess.
He's a huge Ravens fan, bro.
Yeah, want to get your thoughts on the game Saturday night, man. What you got on it?
On Saturday night?
Yeah, this past Saturday night. What you got?
Come on, Ravens, talk to me. And remember, you're live on YouTube.
So Saturday night. We have to come up with a more consistent passing game.
Mm-hmm.
Saturday night, what they did was they crowded the box, and they was trying to force Lamar to pass. But Lamar gets in a tendency where he knows he's the best athlete on there, so he doesn't go through all his progressions, and he kind of rushes it.
Right.
Saturday night, that interception on the goal line killed us. And if you look back on it, I don't think he ever saw the defender. And that happens sometimes.
Right, yeah.
So I do have a pull if you guys want to watch to kind of see how it happens. If you want me to share my screen now.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, so I did it back at I'm playing it back at slow motion. Don't forget, JR, my brother. Good to see you, man. There you go. Good job, bro.
Yeah, I cut it off.
Thank you. I appreciate that, brother. I really do. I didn't want, Anyway. All right, KRIC. So this is the actual replay of the actual, of the actual stuff. Do you want me to go full speed, or you want me to go just from this part here?
We can go from where you are.
Okay. So I don't think there's no sound, but
No, it's fine. It's fine. So
and
if you
then
pause, if
I'll
you
go back
pause,
on
yeah, go back just a little bit. What I was talking about, MC, and this is where I think we were talking about. If he sits that route down at like the 3, I think he gets the catch.
Well, they played. If you notice, they played a nice zone. That dude
Right, yeah.
played 2 people, and either
No.
we didn't develop it quick enough, or Lamar didn't let it develop quick enough where he could basically stay between the 2 and read Lamar's eyes which one he was going to.
Right.
I think JR is right. So if you look at, I think it was either Des Bryant or whoever is at the top right hand corner. You know, if he throws that ball now, he throws it toward this corner here,
To the pylon, the corner
corner route. I think that's a touchdown. Honestly, I mean, I'll let it play a little more in the greens.
Right. Yeah. No. Please.
And then they see that corner back there. So they had a wide out right here, and then he's already locked. He's already throwing. He sees him. He's turned around. He's already engaged.
He's made his mind up.
He's already made his mind up.
But he couldn't hit the one you were saying. He couldn't hit that corner because we had another out. That corner was the slot.
Right.
Another out. You see to the left.
Yeah,
we have another wide out there, so he couldn't hit that corner out.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, great point, and that's one thing I didn't see before. But still, at the same time, if you look at, I don't know who this guy is right here on the right hand side.
That's the one I felt the best
sense. Him and Marquise is in that same area where you see the guy can play both of them. So he's reading Lamar, which inside the red zone, everything's sped up. I think Lamar Clark is sped up where he's like, he has to basically guess which way that guy's gonna go.
Right.
So I think it goes back to what Sean was saying as far as just route development or play development. Like if that's Sean Payton, if that's old boy from Indianapolis Colts, or Doug Peterson, or even Mike Shanahan, or even Timothy or Sean McVay. I almost said Timothy McVay, the bitch. If this guy flares out here, I think because they're not watching. This guy's not watching. Plus, you have Snead coming out of the backfield. So I just, like I said, he's already locked cocked. It's a play that you guys have ran many of times, and they just, they killed it.
Man,
Get
the first down. You run the ball, get the first down.
And with Greg Roman is, he had Vic. He kind of played with Vic a little. He had Kaepernick, but if you notice, after a year or two, he doesn't really evolve.
No, it doesn't.
Like it is what it is. Like even Kaepernick, before all that stuff happened, they wasn't that same team they was when they first jumped onto the scene with it. So with me, I don't know if Greg Roman can evolve his offense more to what it is right now.
Well, here's one thing that I think the Ravens can do. It's just me. As of right now, there's only 2 people, I'll say 3, that I'm scared of when it comes to the Baltimore Ravens offense. Obviously, number 1 is Lamar Jackson. Number 1. Number 2, though, obviously Andrews as your tight end. He's one of the better tight ends, top 5 tight ends in the NFL. I'll give you guys that.
Right.
But 3 better be JK.
I don't know who's JK.
Oh, okay.
J.K. Dobbins is the running back.
Who's your number 3?
My 3 is the running backs or the running game of the Ravens.
Right.
That's who's who. If you guys have, let's just say, an above average Odell, I wouldn't say, maybe Odell, Jarvis Landry, Emmanuel Sanders, anybody that can push that envelope, that second tier of wide receivers. Honestly, I think you guys definitely win.
I don't even think it's the second tier, the Odell Beckham. We honestly need with something that took Joe Flacco to the next level. Because we have Marquise Brown, which I think is an upgrade over Torrey. We need that big body can win one-on-one outside the numbers if you throw the ball up to him by. Like Dez Bryant in his prime. Not Dez Bryant.
So I'm gonna give you a name, JR. This guy's gonna be a free agent. I'm giving you this guy's name because I think he could be the answer to what you're talking about and what Cisco's talking about. Allen Robinson.
Oh, from the Bears?
Allen
Yeah.
Robinson. I love Allen from the Bears.
Has there been a receiver in the NFL who's made lackluster quarterbacks look better than they are in the last few years than Allen Robinson?
Nah, because he had Trubisky looking like he was they was about to pick up his option.
Right, and even Blake Bortles in Jacksonville. Blake Bortles never played better football in his life than when he had Allen Robinson. So I think I don't know what the cap situation is. I haven't had a chance to look at it, but if there are two positions I want to upgrade with the Baltimore Ravens, is one that big body receiver on the other side of Hollywood Brown. Because I'm not quite sure Hollywood Brown is a number one receiver.
He's not a number one.
We'll see.
Yeah, he may be there at some point, but I don't see it yet. And J-Man, you don't think he's a number one?
No, he's not a number one wide receiver. I think Robinson would definitely be a good, safe number one pick, a number one option for them. With Hollywood being the
that's what Miles Boykin was supposed to be for us.
Yep. Well,
yeah.
That's what Miles Boykin is supposed to be, that big play, quick in slot type of possession receiver. And I don't know if Lamar just doesn't trust him, or if he just that off of the routes that he doesn't get the ball like he should.
Yeah, I don't think
practice. It could be what they're seeing. They may not have that confidence in it.
Or like kind of JR said and everybody's alluded to, schematically it's just not there yet.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Schematically, it might be an issue.
right.
See, but people realize this. This is what kills me. Y'all, Tyreek Hill didn't come in with Pat Mahomes. Tyreek Hill was a possession special teams guy before he got Pat Mahomes.
No, they threw the ball deep with him with Alex Smith.
They used him creatively, but they definitely used him more as a classic receiver with Patrick Mahomes. Yeah.
Yeah, with Pat Mahomes, he's a receiver. Before Pat Mahomes, he was a return, gimmick guy. Like he wasn't lining up as the number one receiver. No one called Tyreek Hill the number one receiver with Alex Smith.
Right.
So it can be not. It could be Lamar. I mean, at the end of the day, it could be Lamar. I mean, one key stat that people don't realize: Lamar didn't even win championships in high school. Like, he's never won a championship ever at any level.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I we can have this. This is I've always argued that particularly in football, guys don't win championships by themselves. Like it just takes a lot to go your way.
I agree with that with college and the pros, but in high school, usually the team with the two greatest athletes in the county, usually they're the ones in the championships.
That's true.
Like, high school is usually them special athletes that you got that stands out. Very seldom do you hear of a superstar like a Trevor Lawrence, that generational talent like a Lamar coming out of high school and they didn't win their state championships.
Yeah,
So,
some level, yeah.
And so I would normally I would go with that. But the caveat is when you play high school football in South Florida and Miami, it's a different animal.
No, you know why? Hold on. No, because if you play football in Texas and Georgia, is a different animal.
Agree.
So he was the most sought after guy that he didn't go to state. He didn't win the state. That's all I'm saying. Like, no years, not one. And he played. If you check his school, he played in one of the predominantly powerhouse Florida schools. And
I'm just telling you this, and MC's gonna co-sign this. And again, I'm a bit of a homer because I am, a native Floridian.
I'm sorry.
It's just a listen. Politically, that's another conversation.
It's either Florida or Maryland, whichever one you don't want to live in first.
Yeah, no, but it's fine. But no state income tax. But anyway, the point is like we
that makes a difference. State income tax makes a difference.
No, it's just a different animal. It's just a different animal down there because it's just it's just a different animal. And I didn't follow Lamar in high school. I didn't start following Lamar until he got to Louisville. So I didn't get a chance to watch him in high school like that. But
I will tell you this: you know who he lost to in his championship game?
Who's that?
Our backup quarterback.
Which one?
Huntley, the black dude, the dude that just played.
The one that came in for him on Saturday.
Yep, he the one that beat the game.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's a great fact.
Yeah.
Great fact. That's awesome.
He's never won at any level. So I love Lamar, but you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, are we gonna have to grit that great, not say Trent Dilfer defense, but that defense that can lead, and then we wait for Lamar to be special.
So I think it's two things. The first thing, and again, I don't know if you noticed this on Saturday, but I was really paying close attention. I thought Buffalo did a good job of attacking the weakness of y'all defense. For me, is y'all safety position. This is the first time in forever that I can remember the Ravens not really having a top flight safety.
Yeah, we don't. And
Yeah.
And everybody was talking about how strong our safety was, but our secondary was. But I mean, I think they held up. I mean, the straw that broke the camera back with the interception. I think it was two good teams hard fight for it, and Lamar blanked first. That interception broke our back. But fellas, I'm sorry, I gotta go assist my wife. I'm gonna have to get back up with Cisco. But Cisco, let me know when you do this. This shit is cool.
Oh yeah.
All right, bro. Be easy, my man.
Thanks for coming in. And Herc, I don't know if you can hear me, but okay, there you go.
Yeah,
Herc,
I had to go through the settings. Yeah, what's going on?
Can you hear me?
It's pretty cool.
So Herc and JR are huge Ravens fans, who I think both of them have poisoned my ability to even root for a Raven, even if I see it dying on the street somewhere. However, they're both huge Ravens fans, and Herc he's pretty good at his analysis, although he's somewhat blind to some obvious facts. Go ahead, Herc. Go ahead. Yes, son.
What I was saying is I was late to the conversation. Everybody was pointing to that pick six, right? Which was a backbreaker. But if you go back to second down, what I was saying is Trey Phillips and J.K. blew their assignments. Hollywood was wide open. He walks in the end zone on second down because Lamar didn't have time to set his feet. In the very next play, he throws the pick six, which you guys have already kind of hit on. You know, when Lamar gets in trouble, he goes to the security blanket. Everybody in the world knows it's Mark Andrews.
Right.
At that point, I wish he would just look off the safety. You know, Snead, Des Bryant. I mean, when Lamar's in trouble, I give kudos to the defense because I play Andrews too. Andrews always has got two good people on. He's going to have to learn to go to those second and third reads, you know, at times. Until he does anything different, that's how defense is going to play.
Yeah, so I think that's a great point, Herc. As far as maybe develop just like a pump fake, something to just jam it, or like you said, to look off. But like you said, the issue is like you said, as of right now, until he develops that, they're going to crowd the middle, force the outside. But if he pump fakes one time, he forces somebody to bite. That slot receiver that you see is open on the. He can at least you can throw it to him short. He'll be able to catch back up to it. So I agree with your assessment on that one, bro.
You know what?
Right.
I'm gonna say something. Go ahead, Herc.
And I was also agreeing. Y'all already brought it up. Allen Robinson will do wonders for his development. I love Hollywood Brown, and he's a glorified number 2. He shows up, but we knew the true person that can put man coverage and make those tough decisions at the wide receiver route outside the numbers. That has to make defenses play as different. Because right now, Cisco alluded to it, they run blitzes, which kind of kept Lamar going horizontal instead of north and south, and forced us to beat it. And my other thing is Greg Roman is great in the run game, but you can't be first in rushing and 31st in passing. That's almost being one dimension.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. And Herc, I wanted to ask you too, Herc, because while we're talking about it, and I know we mentioned Allen Robinson, but do you think Jimmy Smith is at the point now where he should be trying to make that transition to safety, since they seem to be locked in with receivers at corner?
Absolutely. Because, again, I mean, every great corner, I'm not going to say he was great. He was above average for a while.
Right.
But you can see the quicker receivers, he's on skates. So we're not asking him to cover a team's number 1 and number 2. So he check Kobe. So I'd like to see him at safety from what his experience was at a corner level. And things of that nature. Yeah, I definitely like to see that.
All the great ones have done that. Or all the, like you said, all the above average ones. You know, it seems, I don't know why it's so hard, but like you said, Woodson extended his career, both Woodsons actually, and then and like I think we talked about this before, Sean. I wouldn't mind seeing Adrian Peterson switch over to that safety position too. That'd be a great look because he's, you know, I'm tired of seeing him on the highlights and on the wrong side.
Patrick Peterson.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Patrick Peterson. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I would love to see him because he's been getting choked up or been getting, you know.
Yeah, it's about that time. You know, after 10 years, it's kind of like, okay, you know what? I might need to go ahead and make this transition.
Hey, Sean, if you don't mind, I just want to pose the same question we posed earlier and get Herc's opinion on that. As far as the lack of diversity among head coaching, as far as those ranks, what do you think will have to happen to get that to really change and for us to move forward together?
Well, narrative has to change. I wholeheartedly believe Anthony Lynn got a raw deal with the Chargers. You know, that guy was in every game and things of that nature. I just don't think, you know, some of the African American coaches get, you know, the benefit of the doubt. You know what I'm saying? It's always improved to show me, nor do they get hired in situations where they're set up. They're always either rebuilding or taking a job that really is not attractive. And, you know, unless they just hit the jackpot or whatever, they're fired, you know, instead of, you know, their counterparts, we parted ways, things of that nature. You notice on as many of the head coaches that were fired this year, you know, the only one that was fired was Lynn. Everybody else was like or parted ways.
Right.
So if you guys didn't know, Herc is a hell of a bowler. I think that's what he's doing right now.
Exactly. That's what the noise is.
Yeah. He's a hell of a bowler. Like we had like a little you know, a little sectional thing or a unit thing, whatever, and you know, he can make grown people cry. He had some people drinking tequila at 10 o'clock in the morning because they weren't hitting their strikes.
Yeah, I appreciate that.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm sure they were drinking tequila just because it was tequila at 10 o'clock in the morning. But also, you know, I heard some dinosaur teeth not, you know, falling in the background. I thought that's what that was. So okay, yeah, good to know. So
hey, Sean, this real quick. Like it was my supervisor. He was overall in charge. But it was my supervisor and one of my bio buddies, and he pretty much fired him after the second bowl. He said, "Man, get out of here! You gotta go. Give me Cisco." I was like, "Oh," I know. And, you know, I came in rough and I'm good to go. When I saw what he was hitting, what our other people were hitting, I was like, "Oh, I got at least get 100."
Hey, you were able to keep it on the lane. My counterpart was sweeping the gutters, and my competitive nature kicks in. And I'm sorry, you got to go.
Oh man,
He doesn't have some battles with that though. But you know, I mean, I would love to see, like Cisco said too, somebody from college. Maybe it's just the coordinator. Maybe what Lamar can do better in the passing game and things of that nature. He's a capable thrower. I just think, even Steve Smith said it best. The Ravens' passing concepts are elementary at best. They're easy to defend. They're predictable. And we run the same 12, 10 counter plays a game. And we've been doing the same thing for 2 years. The defenses are catching up, and Lamar makes it go because he's just that damn athletic and gifted. But at some point, the other team gets paid to stop him as well. So you got to keep the defense on their toes. We don't take shots down the field. We don't run bubble screens. We don't do free flickers. We don't do anything. So I just need to see more creativity.
And Hurt, I don't know if this would be necessarily a slap in the face to Greg Roman or if he would take it personally, but I wouldn't mind seeing the Ravens actually bring Jim Caldwell back as an offensive consultant. If you look at the success he had Joe Flacco played outside of his mind when Jim Caldwell was there. Never played well after that after he got his money, but that's another story for another day. And if you look at what he did with Matt Stafford, what he did with Peyton Manning, he's always kind of had that golden touch with quarterbacks, in his career. And obviously, because he has a relationship with the Ravens, because he was the offensive coordinator when you guys won the Super Bowl, it would seem like, a decent match if you want to, get Lamar to take his game to the next level. Just want to get your thoughts on that.
Absolutely. I love what Jim Caldwell did. He came in the middle of that 3-game rut that year. We had just flopped at home against Denver, and Harbaugh made a change, and look where we went. I hate to say that one great year got him, $120 million. Probably one of the biggest mistakes he's ever made because it hampered us. But Caldwell, and I will say the personnel, Anquan Boldin is what Lamar kind of needs. But I would like to get a younger version. I'm tired of the Ravens always getting Derek Mason on the back nine, Steve Smith on the back nine. We don't get that true alpha receiver. So, but, Flacco had the weapons. Ray Rice was emerging. Pitta was at the top of this game. Troy Smith was a speed demon, and he had short hands and ankle. So, and Caldwell made it work. So I'd like to see that again.
Yeah, and I got to say, while I think Ozzie Newsome is one of the best personnel men ever, and I think he obviously should get a lot of credit for how he built the Ravens all the years he was there, the one position he could not seem to draft well was receiver. And, and I mean, again, I think about the Ravens history, like who is really the best wide receiver in Ravens history? Is it Derek Mason? Maybe. I mean, I don't know, but I don't see Lamar getting to that next level without that true alpha number one big body guy. And I think, if they don't back up very quick, I have something wrong.
Well, you hit it right on the head. We draft everywhere but wide receiver. The best wide receiver, if you want to say it's got to be Troy Smith. That's the only one he's ever drafted that did anything halfway productive. But, go all the way back to Travis Taylor, Mark Slayton. I mean, we don't have them. They're always free agents.
Yeah. Yeah, and again, it'd be interesting to see if you guys back up the Brinks truck for Allen Robinson. I hope you do. But for Lamar's sake, because I want to see him do well, obviously, for multiple reasons. But it'd be interesting to see. So, absolutely, we need to back up the Brinks truck. We need to stop shopping at Dollar General for receivers and put all our money in the defense. At some point, you got to score. And I just go back to what DeAndre Hopkins did for Kyler Murray, with Stephon Diggs for Josh Allen. Josh Allen was under 60% both years. He gets Diggs, and he's damn near an MVP. Yeah. I'm just saying, give me something other than, I hate to say it, I love Miles Boykin because he's inside, but Willie Snead, those guys don't keep you up at night. And Lamar gets held to a lower standard. He wins games, but, Baker's got all-world receivers.
You know what I'm
Right.
saying? Darnold.
Yeah. Yeah. We'll see. Also, again, I don't know who else is going to be free agents, but Allen Robinson is the one for me. He sticks out the most. But there'll be some other guys, I'm sure, that will hit the market that could, very well fit the bill. Possibly Chris Godwin in Tampa as well, because he's in the last year of his deal. So, we'll see what happens with him.
He's true. I think Marvin Jones is up for the Lions as well.
He is.
And I don't know if they would be willing to give up Kenny Golladay. That's another name I wouldn't mind.
Yeah, Galladay is a free agent as well. And I think they're probably going to franchise him.
Yeah, that's possible because he's too much talent.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't AJ Green do that for like a year? He's available, right?
Yeah, AJ Green.
Yeah.
I know off injured.
But again, AJ Green's best football is behind him. A lot of I call it the Facebook GMs are calling for Julio Jones. Julio Jones was great 4 years ago, but he's got bulky hamstrings and he can't stay healthy.
Right.
I don't want a name. I want somebody, and Allen Robinson fits. And I think Allen Robinson's affordable because, Baltimore covers draft picks. We're not going to give up a first, a third, and a sixth for a guy that only averages 8 games a year. I'm sorry.
Exactly.
I love Julio, but I can't stay healthy.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't think you make that move for a guy who's on the back half of his career. I think you want a guy who, for the most part is going to be with Lamar the next few years and still playing at a high level. I think you do Lamar and the offense a disservice by investing in the guy who's back half of his career.
Absolutely. So Lamar can continue to grow as a passer. He's got a God-given talent to run the ball. But again, as he matures and gets older, he will slow down and defenses will catch up. And he's got to develop his passing game or he's going to be done by the time he's 28, 29.
Yeah, I think Lamar could potentially have that kind of Vic in Philadelphia type of surge in his career where, he just kind of hit that point where he found the balance of doing both and he could do both well. But he wasn't so dependent on his legs. Lamar will get to that point, but also again, it's going to be what's outside, the hashes for him. At a certain point, you're going to have to address that because again, I don't think Hollywood and Miles Boykin are the answers out there. And Dez Bryant, I mean, no disrespect to Dez, but it was a reason why he was out of the league for as long as he was, and it wasn't just because of the Achilles. Like, he's not that guy anymore. So
absolutely, you hit it on the head. And again, I love my tight ends to death, and we draft running backs and tight ends like no other. But receivers is always a mystery.
Yeah, and again, I think I'm guessing I'm not the GM, but I'm guessing that Mark Ingram is coming off the books this season after this season because obviously J.K. and Gus Edwards can hold down the running back position, but it's time to invest for a guy outside. So.
Absolutely, and I love Mark Ingram as a man, and that's what he did for us that first year. But he's on the wrong side of 30, owed $5 million against the cap, so he's gone. LJ Ford will be gone because you got to pay Gus, and Justice Hill is in between. So we have 3 capable running backs. J.K. is just going to be a stud.
Exactly. Yeah. I thought J.K. Dollars was a last year. I think he's up there with Clyde Edwards-Helaire for me.
No, absolutely. And for what we were trying to do in Baltimore, I was ecstatic about the picks because, it wasn't a need at the time because y'all had it. But I already knew Ingram was a 1-2 year filler. Because we really were still recovering from that Ray Rice contract. We had a lot of dead money when we had to let him go. things of that nature. Dennis Pitta. I mean, we've had some terrible contracts all set aside for the ball. Yeah. Now we're free of that, and we're in a 2-year window where we got Lamar on the cheap for maybe one more season. But, now's the time because, in a couple of years, you're going to have Orlando Brown coming up for an extension. We still got to address the pass rush. I think Judon goes away because $15 million for 6 sacks, Ndakwe is 4 years younger. And that guy's just got a motor. I'd have him over Judon.
Yeah.
We locked up Peterson, Humphrey. Now it's time to show the offensive love. Sorry.
Yeah, Peters is overrated, but okay.
We can spend some time in that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, we got to go to the other games. Let's talk about.
Because let's not piss on Marcus Peters tonight. But anyway, but hey, yeah, thanks for jumping in, Herc. Appreciate it, man.
Stay on if you want to.
Okay, we'll do.
Stay on if you want to.
All right.
Yeah, so moving to the Sunday games, got to get to that first game, the Cleveland-Kansas City game. Obviously, Kansas City pulls it out 22-17. Obviously, the story of the game is Mahomes goes out. Just want to get you guys' thoughts on that game and, where you thought the game, how you thought the game went, thoughts on Cleveland, their season and moving forward.
Hey, I just got an alert.
Say what?
I said Baltimore just released Mark Ingram.
Baltimore, wow.
So, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
But let's get on to Sunday's game. Go ahead.
Yeah. So yeah, Cleveland, Kansas City. Any thoughts on that game?
My initial thoughts on it was Cleveland had a chance because I thought, they had just as good of a 1-2 punch running the ball, and that's how you beat a Patrick Mahomes, kind of keep him on the sideline. But Cleveland still has to learn not to make the big mistakes. I mean, people are going to point to that Higgins fumble through the end zone, the helmet-to-helmet contact. I mean, officials don't get anything, and I'm never a fan of it. But that game should have been 13-16, but it ended up 19-3. I just think Cleveland waited too long to start really running the ball, in my opinion, and they didn't take advantage of let's just say it, Mahomes wasn't there in the second half, basically. Third quarter. They had a chance, and to my opinion, Cleveland don't have the defense. They just don't, because they couldn't get off the field on third down. And I will say, Andrew Reid's got the biggest stones in the NFL for calling that fourth down play.
Cisco.
Just I think we got one more backstage there, Sean. So. Yeah, I pretty much agree with Herc's sentiment. They didn't take advantage. They should have pounded the rock a little bit more. Obviously, on the other side of the ball, you had to give credit to Kansas City's defense for stepping up. There's no slight there. I think, in my eyes, the Honey Badger kind of showed his worth. He was, Ed Reed-like as far as being able to dupe that quarterback or dupe Baker Mayfield into throwing that pass where he was able to make a play on it. Like you said, they didn't really take time to take advantage of that situation. I think, however, you put Lamar Jackson behind that team, they win the game, hands down, easy.
Absolutely, I concur with that. Because again, I will say though, I mean, Cleveland should have weapons with all the draft picks and the money, but Baker, number 1 pick, Heisman Trophy winner. Same kudos as Lamar. He didn't deliver. I mean, it's not all on him. A lot of the problems I think when Cleveland were defensively, and they had some key injuries, but absolutely Lamar was there. And I wish Yeah, what it could have said.
Yeah, I thought that Cleveland, when I look at their defense outside of Myles Garrett, Denzel Ward, and maybe Ronnie Harrison, I don't see it defensively. I know Hurt, you mentioned they had a lot of injuries. I think Delpit from LSU, who will get back next year, should make a difference in the secondary. But when I look at their front seven, nobody in their front seven outside of Myles Garrett scares me.
Olivier Vernon was playing well before he got hurt. Before the other side of there.
Yeah. But it may be time to, start, because again, they've paid Myles Garrett, a lot of money. It may be time to now start investing, draft picks in defense, because again, I think the offense is pretty much built. And also, if you look at what they did this season without Odell Beckham, I think he's definitely got to be on the block, if they can recoup some draft capital for him.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah. I don't think
Agreed.
Odell has got to be the future guy. He's still got two weapons, man. I mean, Landry, Njoku, Austin Hooper, even Deacon Jones and Rashard Higgins. I mean, I'd take any of those two guys over, what Lamar has to go to. I mean, let's just say it. And then you got Chubb. I mean, it's great. You don't get any better than that first in terms of skill position. So they went out and got Conklin. I mean, Baker has no excuses.
Zero. I mean, I thought, to your point, Hurt, they should have run the ball early in the game. I was really surprised, and I thought they made a mistake, to get the game off by not taking the ball first, by trying to, establish, what they wanted to do offensively first. Because again, that team's not built to play, in a hole. They needed to take the ball first against Kansas City and try to, drive it down their throats early.
All right, that would have been nice to see if they could switch the narrative. Again, you take away the big plays against Kansas City and you make Patrick Mahomes sit on the sideline.
Right, exactly. Yeah, it's their best defense would have been, Chubb middle, Chubb left, Chubb right, Hunt middle, left, Hunt right. So
yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with that one.
And then of course, obviously Mahomes going out and Andy Reid, showing why, sometimes, the best thing that happens to you can be the worst thing that happens to you. I think Andy Reid winning the Super Bowl and getting that monkey off his back was the best thing that happened to him, because he literally, that fourth down play was literally him putting his two middle fingers in the air to the other sideline.
Yeah, it's just like his homeboy, just he got some Twisted Tea and said pop.
Yeah. By the way, Twisted Tea is not our sponsor. That was free advertising, but no, it's great. Yeah. But yeah, MC, what you got on that Cleveland Kansas City game? Got to hear your thoughts.
It was a good game. I actually was almost about to just leave it, thinking Kansas City was in control before Mahomes got hurt. But to you guys' point, you got Nick Chubb, 13 carries, ain't gonna get it done. 13 carries. You can run Nick Chubb like as much as you want. I think you're right. They should have got the ball. They should have got the ball first, and they should have established what they wanted to do. Defensively, Cleveland gave up 100 yards receiving to Kansas City's two best players on offense. Two best offensive receivers is Tyreek Hill and Kelsey, which tells me that they couldn't do nothing with them guys. Kansas City rushing was kind of, just to keep Cleveland honest, but no pressure. No pressure to the quarterback. Not enough. Baker Mayfield didn't play too bad. He just didn't play too good. Now, I have been impressed with him his progression this season because I think he's played some good football, and he
Right.
made a couple of good throws in the game that required quarterback making a perfect throw and a receiver making a perfect catch.
Right.
So I like their fight. I do think that they didn't take advantage of the running game. They didn't take advantage of the Kansas City Chiefs when Mahomes went down. Kansas City did enough to hold on to win. A couple plays could have went Cleveland's way, and the game could have been different. But I just don't. I like I told you earlier, Sean. I just was never worried that they were going to lose that game.
Right. Yeah.
Cleveland. Kudos to them for getting as far as they did, but it's a big stage for them.
Right. Yeah.
And, I think they should be able to build on what they did this year. Mahomes played very good in the first half, but we'll see how he does next week because I'm sure he's going to play. But just overall, Kansas City did just enough to hold off the comeback from Cleveland. If Cleveland changes their play calling, you have to take advantage of these running backs that you have because everybody doesn't have a Nick Chubb on their team, and nobody wants to hit Nick Chubb for 4 quarters. If you start running Nick Chubb early in the game, when everybody starts getting tired later on the third, fourth quarter, if the game is close like this one was, then he's even more effective.
Yeah.
So, I just think that play calling messed up Cleveland. They was tight. They played tight. Even when Mahomes went down, they played tight.
Right.
And Baker Mayfield, all he does is just run around like a chicken with his head cut off. He's too excited as a quarterback. He needs to poise himself.
Yeah, well, I mean, Cleveland's going to have to make some real interesting decisions here coming up because obviously, they're going to have to consider whether or not they can extend Baker, and it makes sense to extend Baker, and is Baker their quarterback of the future? I'm glad I'm not making that decision, but because I don't know if I've seen enough from him consistently to say he's that guy. And again, when the game was close and they needed him to, step his game up, he didn't yesterday, from what I saw. So they're in a very, very interesting position because again, once they extend him and they pay him, franchise quarterback money, that money that they've spent everywhere else that they've been able to basically put everything around him, that's going to go away. So
they say he's their. He says they say that he is their franchise quarterback.
right.
So
that's mistake number one.
So he's taking number one. So what does that say about the organization if they just get rid of him already? I mean, look, what's this, 3 years?
It's called
he's in the second round. This is the 3 years, and he's made it to the second round of the playoffs. I mean,
4 years. 4 years.
4 years.
Yeah.
We still got guys that way more talent than Baker Mayfield still ain't got there yet. Still got their jobs. So, I don't think they should put the panic button on him. Not yet.
Yeah, he's going into his 4th year. I'm sorry, he's going into his 4th year.
Yeah, right. Yeah. There's no reason to push the panic button right now. Yeah. I think it looks bad on the organization if they do.
Yeah.
This is what organizations, when they meet these kind of situations, listening to the narratives about their franchise guys, their quarterbacks and whatnot, they have to not pay attention to so much of the outside talk. They really need to focus on, well, what do we have that complements Baker, or what do we need to get that complements Baker even more? Because what we don't want is the organization didn't get him no help.
Right.
We got him help. He just wasn't that guy.
Right.
Chicago, Trubisky, what are we doing? what are we doing with that? So yeah, I just think that they just really need to take a good look at their core and establish their identity. I mean, every year, who knows what Cleveland Browns' identity as a football team is going to be?
Right.
They've been paper champs. In the last 4 years, they've been paper champs. They've been crowned. They've been back in the dirt, filled with expectations that never pan out. This year, they actually was pretty quiet, and look how far they got. So I think that Tom Brady going to the NFC helped a lot as well.
Right. Of course. Yeah.
So
Which is a good segue. The last game on the go ahead, Cisco.
Okay, so we're about to go to Tom Brady, and the Buccaneers. Let me get this off my chest real quick. All right. So my only issue, right? If I told you that a quarterback went 18 for 33 and threw for 199 yards in a playoff game, and the score was 30 to something, would you think that was the winning quarterback?
No.
I've listened to several other sports radio stations, and they're saying how great Tom Brady is, how great he is. He won the divorce. The Patriots. It was because of Tom Brady. Brother, please, sit down and just look, because it's mind-boggling. Because the same people that call Tom Brady great, or the greatest of the GOAT of all time, which is not, he's just not, are the same people who will turn around and tell me that LeBron James is not at least on Michael Jordan's level as of right now. The first thing they'll say is Michael Jordan 6-0, 6 MVPs. Tom Brady 6 NFL trophies. I don't know how many MVPs. I really don't care. But I'm tired of this narrative of just, hey, he plays poorly in the playoffs, or he plays poorly against his counterparts. Like, he has not won. Like, for example, if I take Joe Montana, I was a Niners fan, right? I'm Joe Montana all day. Joe Montana is 4-0 in the Super Bowl. Who did he beat? Dan Marino, Boomer Esiason twice, and John Elway. Matter of fact, he beat the brakes off John Elway, and he had game-winning touchdown drives. So I don't get it. I don't know how you put Brady above Joe. Trim up Brady has all the records. You play for 150 years. Of course, you're gonna get some records. But come on, man, this is asinine, straight up asinine to say Tom Brady's a freaking GOAT. Now I will concede, if he wins the Super Bowl at Tampa Bay, I will have me a big old cup of just sit down and shut the hell up. That's all I got to say.
All right. So before I say what I'm getting ready to say, well, you know what? Pause. MC, I'm coming to you because I need to. I'm coming to you on that on Cisco's comment.
Well, Cisco, I don't believe that they're going to win the Super Bowl, and I don't believe that Tom Brady's the GOAT. But I do know one thing about Tom Brady. He's a hell of a football player, and he's hard as hell to bet against. This was a tough football game for both teams. I mean, it was tough. I believe, I'm not sure about you all, but this game here, they probably were hitting harder than any of the other games. You could tell from the beginning of the game, they both was hating each other. I'm surprised nobody got a tech. I was very impressed by the referees. There was a lot of jaw jacking in that game. A lot of jaw jacking. But New Orleans is who I thought they was. One-dimensional. Let's go out with the king, Drew Brees. Let's put it all on his shoulders. Forget the fact that he hasn't been playing that good football. Forget the fact that you got Alvin Kamara, who should have touched the ball way more times. Forget the fact that they do have a capable running game, but they're too one-dimensional with the passing game. Drew Brees threw the ball 45 times. As a team, they ran 25. Kamara ran, he had 18 carries for 85 yards, which wasn't bad. But I just think that when you put the ball in Drew Brees' hands at this point of his career, because to me, it clearly looks it's about time to hang him up. He just didn't look good. And it's not just because of his age, it's just because how he's aged. He's still in shape to play the game, but he's fragile. He's a fragile quarterback now. Tom Brady looked like the better quarterback. He made the better throws. And I hate saying that because you all know how I feel about Tampa Bay and what happened. As far as Jameis Winston is concerned, however, I'm not going to take away from Tom Brady's game, but to me, the player of the game was Leonard Fournette. Fournette bailed them out of key third down situations. He ran the ball well, and he received the ball very well because Tampa Bay receivers were not effective. Evans was not effective. One catch, Gronk. One catch, Antonio Brown. One catch, even though he was hurt. Leonard Fournette got 5 catches. Break 4 catches.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I would like to, if they were to highlight that, to say, hey, Fournette and Jones, that running game, really propelled them past that, I'd be okay with that.
But they're not going to. They're not going to.
But to say that Tom Brady, he won it. Yeah. Are you serious? Did we look at the same game? No, there were key moments, key breakouts to where Leonard Fournette and I believe what was his name, Johnson?
Ronald Jones.
Robert Jones. Why we need to know he's a second or third. Sean, we can talk about that later. But right, like I don't care if you're the first, second, or third. It's just okay, I got you. But if they were given more credit, then I would love. I wouldn't say much. I'd be like, hey, it was a good game. Tampa Bay, you did the thing, and it's extremely hard to beat an NFL team 3 times. That's like one of the most impossible tasks. It's almost like doing a 3-peat a Super Bowl. It's extremely hard, and it's a record. I don't know of another team that's done it.
In the NFL?
No. Just beating the team twice.
No, it's not hard. It is historically it's hard. Like it's hard.
So probably less than 1%.
Yeah,
yeah. I mean, it's got to be.
I could think of the New England Patriots. Then one year they beat Peyton Manning 3 times.
No,
they don't play him twice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's right.
So, the only way that would happen is if they're within the same division.
Yeah.
Right. Like I'm trying to think back even with San Francisco and Seattle and the Seattle battles, as far as just what's, I don't remember a team ever beating the team twice in the regular season and then beating that same team in the playoffs. It's just extremely, extremely hard. You have to have several things go your way, plus health. But to go on to, I know you're trying to you want to jump on here in a second, but to go back to J-Mac's point, not only did they look one-dimensional, they look only one-dimensional within the one dimension. Ergo, they can't seem to throw the ball past 20 yards, 10 yards.
Yep.
So I think you made a great point on that. They look one-dimensional, but they look one-dimensional within the one dimension. It's just like, hey, look, can we get the ball over 5 yards? Why do we have to do these quick looks? It was just, you had the better wide receivers. Your wide receivers were better than their DBs. Their running backs, Alvin Kamara, he's, I'll take him over Leonard Fournette and Jones, whatever the fuck his name is, or excuse me, whatever the heck his name is, any day of the week, twice on Sunday. So it's just, it's, I don't know, maybe losing Hill out of that offense, that hurt a lot too.
Yeah. And Latavius Murray. And losing Latavius Murray was big because again, I think they were really dependent on Kamara, and I think they needed to have that that other component with Hill, or excuse me, with Murray that they you know I think it's just a big huge difference. So let me start by saying that I love the Lord. I try to make sure my language dictates that very much. But all the nut riding of Tom Brady last night during the game, Joe Buck and Troy Aikman, what kind of move was they using? Seriously, it was bad. Like, are we watching the same game? Like he was not like great last night. And let's stop acting like they won the game because of him. They won the game because Drew Brees threw 3 interceptions. Jared Cook had the ball stripped on a fumble away from him. They won the turnover differential 4-0, and they got 3 turnovers in New Orleans territory. Nobody in their right mind watching that game thought the Bucs won that game because of Tom Brady. Nobody. And this whole idea of, well, Tom Brady came in and he's giving these guys all this confidence. Well, let's unpack that for a second. It's the second year for all of those guys in that offense, with the exception of Gronk and Tom Brady, who just happened to play 10 years together in New England, so they know each other very well. They have a running game. They have a really good front seven. And they played a complimentary football game in spite of the fact that Tom Brady was not great yesterday. He was okay. At best, he was okay. But this constant nut riding of Tom Brady this and Tom Brady that, I heard on an interview a few months ago, it was during the World Series and during the Stanley Cup, Trent Dilfer, former Buccaneers quarterback, was on an interview and said the Tom Brady effect in Tampa is so great that the Rays are in the World Series and that the Lightning are in the Stanley Cup. And I'm like, y'all don't get his mouth. You gonna get his. I'm trying to watch my mouth. You gonna get his dude the credit for a sport that he don't even play?
I read an article too. I read an article that said that we getting $20,000 stimulus checks because of Tom Brady.
Yeah.
So if that's the case, he is the GOAT.
Yeah. Hey, bro. If I get a $20,000 stimulus check because of Tom Brady, I won't tattoo my arm, but I get a good marker, and I'll write "GOAT Tom Brady" on there, and I'll leave it there to wash off.
If we get a $20,000 stimulus check because of Tom Brady, I will get a Tom Brady New England Patriots T-shirt and put it on and make that my profile picture on every single social media platform.
Yeah, I might wear a MAGA hat with that.
Let's go. I swear. I talked to Sean yesterday when the game started.
Right.
I'm telling you now, I don't know if he's on high blood pressure medication, but if he's not.
Oh, bro, you talked to him too. Right. Yeah.
He
hot. He was hot.
Yeah. I was like
I never heard him curse that much.
Oh man. I had to get out of the phone.
I was like, it was bad. Like it was really bad. And again, I didn't feel the better team won the game. I feel the team that played the better game won the game.
Makes sense.
Again, they made some key plays and New Orleans wasn't able to. I will have to say though, the trick play by New Orleans that they got the week from Chicago the week before when they brought Jameis in, I thought was brilliant. Because Tampa had no expectations of that defensively.
Yeah, got him a perfect passer rating on, wasn't it?
Yeah, he got a perfect passer rating. But also, again, and again, we could do an entire live stream on that whole situation in Tampa. I won't go into that. But I'll just say that, at the end of the day, Tampa won, and, you take your hats off to them. But I don't know about you guys. And again, we're not doing previews just yet because we'll probably end up doing that later in the week as we get closer to the games and, have an idea of what's going on. But do either of you, in your right mind, think that team is going to Green Bay to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field and beating the Green Bay Packers?
I didn't have them beating them anyway.
Yeah.
I had Green Bay going to the Super Bowl. So
yeah. I had Chiefs and Saints in the Super Bowl from the beginning of the season, so I was sticking with that all the way through. But yeah, so and as far as Drew Brees, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on it because we got to get to our top 5 before we close this thing down. But yeah, as far as Drew Brees, I know he said he's gonna take some time to think about things. Listen, there's nothing to think about.
Yeah, just go ahead and grab your hat, your coat, and your keys.
Yeah. Exit stage left.
I credit to Anthony Francisco for that one.
It's over. It's over.
I tell you what, if his wife, if he tries to come back, his wife, she should take a page out of Cap Rooney's wife book, and any given Sunday, slap some sense into him.
Yeah,
but the opposite way.
But the opposite way, right?
He wanted him to keep playing. He wanted to quit.
Right. Yeah.
So,
like it's Willie Beeman's time.
Right.
It's Willie Beeman's time, and again, Jameis isn't under contract with them for next season yet. They, Sean Payton has come out, publicly and said that he feels the next quarterback for that team is on the roster, which, again, I'm inclined to believe
Hill.
It is not Taysom Hill because Hill was Cherubini, as we all know.
Can't throw.
You said what?
He can't throw, man.
No, he can't. He can't throw. No, he can't throw. He's throwing the ball to freaking Georgia. So, at the end of the day, my apologies.
That's pretty good, bro.
My fault. I was quoting any given Sunday, but yeah, no, I just think obviously, it likely means, and if you saw, I don't know if you saw the video at the end of the game where Drew Brees said to Jameis Winston towards the end of the game on the sideline, he's like, it's your team now. So I think that pretty much, sums up what it is, and so I don't expect to see Drew Brees ever in a uniform again, in the Saints uniform again. So, yeah.
I would like to get the audio of that.
I
would like to get the audio of him saying.
I'd like to get the audio of it, but it was a lot of lip readers last night, and he did say it's your team now. I don't know what he said before that, but he did say he did mouth the words, "It's your team now."
As he was looking at Jameson?
Yeah, as he was talking to Jameis. Yeah, he was talking to Jameis on the sideline. Yeah.
Well, I'm hoping that the Niners pick up Jameson, so
Yeah, well, I saw an interesting article about that. But again, I think we're gonna, as we do these streams, this is our first one, but as we do these streams, and especially as we get towards the off season, and we're in the off season, between the draft and the off season, we're gonna do some team previews and talk about where teams may go with some of their picks and choices in the off season. So anyway, before we close this stream out, want to know if either of you have a potential top 5 for the night that you want to discuss.
What you got, Cisco?
Oh, I missed it, man. What was the question? I'm sorry. I
just wanted to make
my cup.
I'm sorry. I just want to see if either of you had a top five you wanted to discuss before the end of the night. A potential top five.
Can we get two of them in here, bro? It shouldn't take that long.
Can we get two? Can we get
Can
two?
we get two, bro? Can we
Yeah,
get two? Can we get,
let's squeeze two. We can squeeze two. Let's squeeze two. So what
right.
you got? What you got, Cisco?
Well, top five NBA players of all time. For me, and like we can discuss whatever you want to do, or we can adjust however you want.
Right.
Either top five NBA players, top five movies, and we can kind of categorize it so we're just not kind of going all over the place if you want to.
Right. I mean, it's whatever. It's top five anything. That's the purpose. We do top five. You know, that's how we close this thing out every night. So, your top five NBA players of all time.
MC, you got top five you want to talk about, bro?
No, I just go along. I go along with those two.
Sean, were you thinking about something else too, or no?
No. I didn't have one in particular.
Let's start with let's start with top five. No, let's not do NBA. Let's do rappers. Let's do hip hop artists.
Top five rappers of all time. You sure you want to open that can of worms?
We can move to the top 10 because that's going to be a big one. And I know it's going to be something, but we got to talk about hip hop, the state of hip hop, on a future podcast or future live cast.
Right.
But yeah. But instead of let's just keep the movies, top five movies, and then top 10 rappers of all time. So I know we all have our set top 10, and that always causes a brief debate.
Right. Well, I'm going to say. MC, you can go first.
Top five what?
We do top five movies and top five of all time and top 10 rappers of all time or hip hop artists of all time.
Artists. Let's do the movies first and then go to the rappers. So everybody gives their movies first and then go to the rappers.
Okay. Okay. Not in no particular order.
Sure.
I got Snatch.
Good one.
I got I'm drawing a blank. I got Life. These are just my favorite top five. Damn, that's pretty hard for me. And we just did this last week, right? I forgot all five of them already. But Snatch, I know definitely was one of them. Scarface was one of them. Life is one of them for me.
Gunline Boss.
Yeah, Gunline.
Talking about the Gunline Boss.
Absolutely. I don't know. They'll come to me. You got me this round. I lost the official top five, first top five debate ever. And if you're listening out there, I don't care. Say what you want. You can get up too.
Let's go.
The Sunset Limited. I think it was just a great movie. It's Tommy Lee Jones directed. Tommy Lee Jones and Samuel Jackson.
Yep.
The entire movie took place in one particular scene, and it is the dialogue, which is based off. It came off of a screenwriter or a playwright. I forgot the author's name. It's one of my favorite ones of all time. Just as far as what they talked about, the dialogue, and to have those two great actors go back and forth. I thought it was an excellent movie. Other one is Matrix. I personally saw that movie, I think, 5 times in movie theaters. I think it was just the first of its kind. Me being a semi-computer nerd, it was just revolutionary in so many ways. So many scenes that just stood out to you. The way it was shot, and the fact that both directors turned into women now, so that's progressive.
Okay.
Hey, this is just a thought. I'm gonna go on anime side of the house. Ninja Scroll. For those of us who are animes, those of us who are a little bit of geeks, Ninja Scroll is is the standard when it comes to anime. At least one of the standards. That's 3. 4. You got I gotta have Scarface in there. Love Scarface. He's you see when you say Scarface, I think automatically your lips turn upside down and you start trying to talk like Tony Montana. It's just one of those things, you know what I mean? And the 5th one, gotta be a Denzel movie. I'm not saying it has to be, but it's just
It's almost sacrilegious not to have a Denzel movie in your top 5 if you're a huge Denzel fan like you are.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to think, bro. I don't know. I can watch all of his movies except for Ricochet and the other one where he's on the island.
Really. So you can actually watch Virtuosity?
Actually, I've never seen it, so no, I can't watch it.
Don't bother. Listen,
Yeah, it was bad.
nobody's batting 1,000 in their movie career if you've done more than 5 movies.
But he close though.
He's close.
He close.
But he's got some clunkers. Like it's probably like 3 in his career easily that I would say are clunkers. Yeah, because I thought Safe House sucked.
Who?
Safe House.
Yeah. It wasn't.
I don't know, Cisco. You might like The Equalizer. What about that one?
I love Equalizer. I didn't like the way Equalizer 2 ended. It was just.
Yeah, I didn't like the way Equalizer 2 ended.
It was just like, come on, bro. You could let that. Why you had to? For those who hadn't seen it.
Yeah.
I don't care. For those who hadn't seen it, it ended in a goddamn hurricane or a fucking tsunami or whatever. That was just retarded.
Yeah.
Well, let me move Denzel to the top 5 actors of all time. Matrix, Sunset Limited, Ninja Scroll, top 5. Whew. Scarface. Man, I really like. I'm gonna go with MC on Life, man. Just as far as it's the who's who next to Harlem Nights, the who's who of black actors.
Yeah, that's why I couldn't put Harlem Nights in mine. That's right.
Yeah, because if Harlem Nights was that first generation per se, you could say Life is like the second generation or 2.0 as far as who had any. Bernie Mac, Anthony Anderson, of course, Eddie Murphy, Martin Lawrence, and several others that are really good actors. I'll leave it at that one. But Matrix is my number 1 now. I just you can't tell me there's another better movie than that.
Yeah.
As far as storyline, and what's going on now, holy bejesus.
Yeah, well, I think one day we're going to do a top 5 Eddie Murphy movies of all time. That seems like a list that's coming soon. But anyway,
top 5 Eddie Murphy.
Yeah, top 5 Eddie Murphy movies of all time. It seems like I'm just putting that out in the universe because it seems like we're going to have that conversation at some point.
He only got 5, bro.
He might.
I think he only got 5, bro. Honestly,
he might. But it just depends because there's some depending on But anyway, that's another conversation for another day. Yeah. So my top 5, Godfather has to be in my top 5. Everything you want to know about life is in the Godfather. It's in the Godfather. So Godfather definitely up there for me. Shawshank Redemption to me is in my top 5. I just think it's just a beautiful movie, beautiful story. Morgan Freeman, Tim Robbins, Brown. I just love that movie. It's one of those movies. I don't care if it's on TV. If I see it on TV, I might stop what I'm doing and watch it from wherever it is on TV. So Shawshank is up there for me. A personal favorite of mine is Love Jones. I think Love Jones is people talk about Best Man as the first of its class and first of its kind. It's like no, Love Jones came out before Best Man. So Love Jones. For me, Remember the Titans. I just think it's just a great movie. Still resonates even to this day. And so Remember the Titans. And then the last one for me is an interesting one. Is Crash.
Yeah, it's a great movie.
Crash. I think
Never
Crash.
saw it.
You never saw Crash. You've got to
I know.
watch
I gotta
Crash.
watch it.
You
So
gotta-
I have the movie. I have it.
You have it. You just never watched it.
Yeah, because but my library is ridiculous.
Yeah, of course you have it. Yeah, you have every movie.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah.
So
Legally,
yeah.
though.
So,
Legally.
yeah. But I'm telling you, after you watch it, you'll be like, man, why didn't I watch this sooner? It is that good. And still even resonates to what's going on today.
So I would like to replace so Matrix, Sense Unlimited, Scarface, Ninja Scroll. I'm gonna pick off Life because I think that could be like a top 5 comedy movie.
Right.
Which is another one. I gotta add Dark Knight, man.
Oh, Dark Knight. Yeah.
I'm sorry, bro.
Yeah. No,
I'm
not
sorry.
really. Yeah.
That was so. There's the Batman movie with Michael Keaton. Awesome.
Right.
Set a standard for DC.
Right.
And then there's the Dark Knight for me.
Right.
I'm a DC guy.
Right.
So, it's the Dark Knight, man. That was just.
Yeah. Yeah. No, listen, can't say anything bad about that. Yeah.
I'll tell you another movie that was one of my personal favorites. Y'all might have remembered me talking about this before. The Spike Lee movie. Mo Better Blues.
25th Hour.
No.
Oh.
Mo Better Blues for me is probably what Love Jones is for you.
Mo Better Blues is in my personal top 5 movies that I can watch over and over again.
Yeah.
And I still feel some kind of way about it. Yeah,
And-
it's my favorite Spike Lee movie.
Oh yeah, for me by far is my favorite. I've watched it probably 2,255 times.
Yeah, and I think I'm probably 2,252. So yeah, I get it.
It's like
Yeah,
always trying to open up somebody.
And I'm also put because I said 3 and then that was 4, but I'm gonna say one more that always touches me, and so we need some violin music. We probably ain't got none right now.
I got my daughter.
We just started out. But anyway, Pursuit of Happiness by Will Smith. I just like the process, the storyline, the process of what it takes to grind, and persistence. It was just to me, it was a great movie to watch, but also a difficult movie to watch.
Right. Yeah. And
So-
I've said this about Will Smith, and I have all the respect in the world for Will Smith. I think Will Smith has been in 2 great movies in his career, and that's one of them.
The other one's Ali.
The other one's Ali.
Yeah.
So where's Bad Boys ranking that?
You know what I'm saying? Great in terms of just like I think Bad Boys is a fun movie.
It's not a great movie?
No, I'm not saying it's not a great movie. I think it's not like in terms of the story, like
It's not a bioflick.
It's not a bioflick, but Pursuit of Happiness, the story, the way it's told, the way it touches you, emotionally, I think he's been in 2 great movies. I think Bad Boys, him and Martin make Bad Boys great. If it was Bad Boys and it was Will by himself, it wouldn't be as good. The interplay between him and Martin is what made Bad Boys Bad Boys.
Cisco.
Yes.
Hancock is gonna come down and slap the shit out of him.
Well, like you said, I thought Hancock was an interesting backstory, the way they kind of brought it together.
Yeah.
But then
Hancock, I wanted to like it. About halfway through, it died for me.
Yeah, we gotta definitely do the top 5 worst movies of all time. I nominate number 1, Catwoman, Halle Berry. I know it's for a later topic, bro, but that's one of the worst movies of all fucking time. It was. I saw it for free. I walked out.
I got one worse than that. And most people remember this movie. There's a movie called Insecure. N-Secure. It came out in like 2010. It was a low budget movie. You remember that movie, MC?
Who was in it?
Oh, Essence Atkins and Tempest Bledsoe, and it was about the guy who was about to marry the chick, and he was crazy, like possessive, and you remember it because I told you to watch it. You got to watch it one time. It's so bad.
He wanted to share the
How the
experience
hell
with somebody
I'm
else,
gonna
bro.
see it,
He wanted to get somebody else in misery.
Yeah, no, it was atrocious. That movie was awful. It was terrible.
Hey, you know, I told you movies was gonna start coming back to me.
Yeah.
For me, Ocean's 11 was an outstanding movie.
I'm surprised none of you guys said Once Upon a Time.
Once
In,
upon a time.
America, Once Upon a Time in
Yeah,
America,
but what's the
gangster
one with?
classic. I would put that in the gangster classic.
Yeah, it's like top 5 gangster movies ever.
Yeah.
We're talking about Al Pacino, Rob De
Yeah,
Niro. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a rough opening. First, that's a long movie too, bro.
Yeah, it's a long movie.
God bless it, that's a long movie.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
Like another movie for me that's up there is Heat. Like I think Heat is an classic.
I'm surprised you didn't say that, bro. Heat's a
Yeah, we were
who's
trying to keep
acting.
it at 5. We were trying to keep it at 5, so it was like, let's just keep it at 5, But anyway, this last one is the top 10 rappers. Your top 10 rappers. Cisco, I'm gonna come to you first on that one.
I need a minute. Give me a second.
MC, you want to go? You got yours?
Top 10 rappers.
Yeah, your top 10
Or
rappers.
hip hop artists. Yeah, hip hop artists.
Top 10 hip hop artists. Oh yeah, I give a crack at it.
For sure.
I'm gonna try this with my eyes closed. I got in no particular order. I gotta keep saying that.
I'm
putting mine in order. I'm putting it out there. I'm putting mine in order. So.
You should go next. We should let Sean go first, bro. Because it's gonna be Just let Sean go first.
Okay.
No, go ahead. See, you got it.
See what I'm saying?
Hey, bro, he's been doing this to us for the last 20 years. It's not a surprise.
Yeah, it ain't no surprise. That's why I ain't surprised. The Saints lost. No surprise.
Yeah. He was hot. Damn you, he was mad.
I ain't never seen him that mad.
Yeah, I ain't never heard him curse that much. He don't curse.
Yeah, my fault. It was my
bad.
Okay.
Top 10 rappers of all time. I got definitely got Jay-Z on the list. I got Tupac on the list. I got B.I.G. on the list. I got Rakim on the list. Got Andre 3000 on the list. I got Eminem on the list. I got Drake on the list. I got Nas on the list. How many is that?
Oh, but your list looks a lot like my list, except for a few.
Tupac, Big Daddy Kane's on my list.
Yeah, that's your number one, bro. I know.
Yeah, that's my number one.
Yeah, for sure.
Man, you didn't let the cat out of the bag.
My bad, bro.
I think that's 8. Did I say 8? Let me see. Who's writing this stuff down, man?
Even tab. I know my 10 off top. So
I think I did 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. And my 10th is I'm gonna go out on a limb. I'm gonna say Lil Wayne.
Oh, okay.
Not bad. Pick a goal.
That's my top 10,
bro.
Okay. All right. I'm surprised you didn't have a certain person on your list, and you may kick yourself after I tell you my list that you didn't have one of those people on your list. Somebody on your list. So, you want to go, Cisco, or you want me to go?
No, let me take a crack at it. I only got 8 right now, but I'll probably think of something. So obviously, I got Tupac, Biggie, Rakim, Andre 3000, Eminem, Black Thought, Busta Rhymes. Man, yeah. I'm trying to think of somebody of the West Coast, bro, because I feel like I'm just ignoring them.
Bye, Lil Wayne. Hello, Black Thought.
He said, he got it. Busta Rhymes like these and fuck my shit up.
Start writing this stuff down.
Man, Texas. I'm trying to think Texas and California, bro. Fuck Cali. What in the Sam Hill?
Scarface.
I I'm so surprised you didn't have him in your top 10, MC.
I don't know where I can fit him.
yeah,
I don't know
there
where I
you
can
go.
fit him. I want him in there, but I gotta place him. Well, I know you'll probably take. You wouldn't have Drake in there, so
Yeah, yeah. I'm surprised you had Drake over Scarface, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
Drake over Scarface?
Well, that's sacrilegious.
Almost.
I mean,
because we were born.
Right? If you were 20, I could see it.
Yeah, maybe 23.
Yeah, 25 at the most.
25 in one fucking day, bro. I'm sorry. 25 in one day. You know what I'm saying? Damn, I can't figure about. I gotta look at my playlist, bro. Hold up. Hey.
well, I could move him to the second 10, but and put Scarface there because he would go on my second 10 with J. Cole and K-Dot and all those people. So,
Well, Cisco, you got your last two?
Man, I'm hurting. I am hurting.
that's good. That's good.
Man, that's hard, bro. That's hard for the last. So I think it was the 8 I got right now. So I got. Yeah, okay. So I got nobody in particular order. Once again, Tupac, Biggie, Rakim, Andre 3000, Eminem, Black Thought, Busta Rhymes, and my man Big Pun. I don't know why everybody keeps sleeping on Big Pun, man. I mean that guy, Mr. Keeping the act, keep the Mac in the back of the act. I mean, come on, that dude was just ridiculous, and he was only because he died early, But
Right.
that's neither here nor there. That's all I got, Sean.
That's all you got. All right. So I'll do mine. I'll do it in reverse order. Number 10, I have Kendrick Lamar. Number 9, I have Ice Cube. Number 8, I have Rakim. Number 7, I have Jay-Z. Number 6, I have Nas. Number 5, I have Biggie. Number 4, I have Scarface. Number 3, I have Black Thought. Number 2, I have Andre 3000. And number 1, I have Eminem.
I'm sorry.
Cisco.
I'm
Go
sorry.
ahead.
I'm sorry. Let's just review this. I didn't hear Tupac.
Tupac is number 11.
Ooh, what the fuck? You said number 11?
Number 11.
So you have Ice Cube rated above Tupac.
Yes. So let's look at it like this, right? If your top 12 rappers were a basketball team, your all-time greatest basketball team, Tupac will be on my all-time greatest basketball team. He just wouldn't be the first man off the bench.
That's okay. That's wrong. So this is your personal top 10 list. So I don't want to criticize your personal top 10 list. However, that is wrong in so many ways. It's unbelievable. That's wrong in the two boys doing it in the sock. You know what I mean? This don't work out for me.
Listen.
To have Kendrick Lamar, albeit a great, all-time great rapper, got it. Oh, I should say it's too late to become all-time great. To be one of the top tier or top 5 rappers today, got it. But to say you have him above and Ice Cube above Tupac, Ice Cube?
Yes.
Okay.
He sounds unapologetic.
Ice Cube. Yes. So let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question. No, this is just a legitimate question because we got about 6.5 minutes before we're gonna wrap this thing up. Would NWA exist in the true spirit of how NWA is revered without Ice Cube?
No.
Yes. Easily.
No, they wouldn't. No, they wouldn't. He was NWA.
What? He wasn't.
Think about the difference.
So
between NWA.
he's a cornerstone.
He's a pillar.
Pillar. Thank you very much. A pillar, along with Dr. Dre.
Right. He and Dr. Dre. NWA
Pillar.
is not what it is without Ice Cube and without Dr. Dre. But it's Ice Cube's writing and his rhyming and Dre's production that make NWA. So when you took Ice Cube away from NWA, you still had Dre's production, but there was something missing. It wasn't quite the same without Cube. And then fast forward, if you take his first 4 solo albums,
I have listened to one album of Ice Cube's.
right? His first 4
ever.
It's very difficult to say that there's anybody else whose first 4 albums, their first 4 albums, match the power of Q's first 4 albums. And again, it's not always about radio play because radio tends to dictate what people think is hot. But Q stuff, because it was controversial at the time, didn't get a lot of radio play nationally. So if you take,
I put him in top 50.
yeah, if you take what he did with NWA and his first 4 albums, and even some of the stuff he's done since his first 4 albums, but I'm saying his first 4 albums in particular, he's in my top 10. And again, there are people who, again, I think may have a certain skill that's better than Ice Cube. Maybe their flow is better. Maybe their wordplay or their use of metaphors and things like that is better. But in terms of total package, in terms of classic album, a pillar of a major group, an influential group, very few people can take his career and can match their career to what he did in his career. And again, I separate, and again, I think a big thing with him was because he started doing movies and that became the medium with which he was known. People don't always give him his just due back in the day as an MC. So Q was in my top 10.
I'm pretty sure there's a few thousand people that think that. Yeah. I don't like him, but I'm pretty sure there's a few thousand people that think like that. They think go on, I like it, bro. Understand?
Yeah. So
there's absolutely no way you can put Kendrick Lamar above Tupac.
I have Tupac 11.
Yeah, which means he's below Kendrick Lamar.
Right. Yeah. So he's above a lot of other people. He's above a lot of other people.
If it wasn't for my eyes blinking, I think my screen locked up.
Yeah.
I just don't. So, like Kendrick Lamar, kind of like how they did the top 50 NBA players of all time. They had it locked in, and they have to kind of revamp that now. That when LeBron, that class, that second grade class of NBA players came out, they got to revisit that. Top 50, top 75 players of all time.
They should next season. Next season for the 5th anniversary. Yeah.
Okay, so if they probably move people over down, I agree. I don't know if they'll move anybody out, which
they won't move anybody out. They won't disrespect anybody like that. They'll probably add 25 to the list since it's been 25 years since they did it.
Sure. So yeah, I think Kendrick Lamar is right there. I gotta give it. I can't do it. I cannot. There's nothing that you can tell me that Kendrick Lamar does Tupac hasn't done threefold. I think I look at Tupac, and I know we talked about social impact. When I talk about social impact, I'm talking about just as far as he has a song for every mood you want to be in. If you want to go gangster, he got gangster. If you want to be power to the people, he got power to the people. If you want to talk about romance, he got that. And even as far as storytelling, the type of stories he told, he's in the league of his own. Him and Biggie are and I know everybody says Tupac and Biggie, but as far as storytelling, ain't much happening over there, bro.
So again, what you just said about Tupac, the same thing exists for Kendrick.
What movie has he ever put you in that you was a gangster?
what I'm saying. I'm saying in terms of
Where
just,
is Kendrick right now?
you said what?
Where is Kendrick right now?
Kendrick
Have
is
we
doing what
heard from him in the last 3 years?
Kendrick is doing what great artists do. He's gone away. Like get like that. That's the thing I probably respect most about him as an artist is that he's not afraid to get away. Like he goes away, and it's like when he gets ready to come out, it's like, man, we missed you. The buzz, the excitement is there because he's not the guy he's not the Kevin Hart or the Drake of hip hop. Like, you know, where you see those guys constantly, it's all the time. It's almost like I don't want to say you get tired of him, but it's like, you know, you're doing the most, and that's cool if that's what you want to do. Where Kendrick is not that guy. It's like, no, I'm gonna drop an album. I'm gonna give you everything I got in the album, drop a couple singles, I might tour, and then I'm gonna go away. Because that's how they did it back in the day. Now, because we're in such a singles driven culture, because everything is streaming and blah blah blah, a lot of guys feel like, oh, I gotta be out, I gotta do this constantly in order to stay relevant. Kendrick doesn't need to do that because his talent, his skills and his subject matter are what keep him relevant.
No, I ain't buying it.
I'm telling you, that's just think about it. Think about it back in the day. If you go back and you look at most catalogs from any artist, very few artists came out every single year or all the time.
No, I know that. I understand that.
Yeah.
I'm just saying in the height of everything that the transition this country has made in the last few years.
So
now where Cisco is spot on with Tupac, he never not seized the moment when something needed to be said.
So
he said, most of your artists on your list.
Well, I'm saying he did that though. If you listen to Pimp a Butterfly, he did that with To Pimp a Butterfly. The stuff he was talking about on To Pimp a Butterfly is what's going on now. It's so relevant now. I mean, All Right is the anthem for what has been going on the last year.
Well, who's playing that?
Tupac did that 25 years ago, bro.
Exactly. Who's playing that anthem?
What I'm saying is, I'm saying that what he did in 2015 was for today and can still play today. I'm not saying Tupac didn't do that. I'm saying that he did do that. There's no reason for him to come out with that again because he's already done that.
Yeah.
What?
But
yeah, I mean, what does Jay-Z say? You want to hear my old shit, buy my old album. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's no reason for Kendrick to come out and do what he did in 2015 today with everything going on in this country because he's already done it. He already gave us the soundtrack for that for today. So there's no reason for him to respond to that musically today because what he already did 5 years ago, it was prophetic in that way.
You saying Tupac wasn't prophetic in any way?
I'm not saying Tupac wasn't. I'm not saying Tupac wasn't.
You saying that he was? Could you imagine if Tupac was alive now? Could you imagine
if Tupac were alive now? Maybe Tupac's still doing music, or maybe he's kicking Jill Scott down a flight of stairs in a Tyler Perry movie. We don't know.
Or more importantly, he is Malcolm X-ish.
Maybe. We don't know.
There's no. I mean, I think that's pretty strong. I mean, his history is there.
But again, so for me, and this is where I always tell people when you do these top 10, you do your top list.
Yeah.
You have to keep it about the medium that they all share.
You know what, guys? You know why I always say not in a particular order? Because of one artist on a song in your top 10 and my top 10, Sean, which is Andre 3000. It was on a song called E.T. Extraterrestrial. Second album. Outkast.
Yeah.
Yes. Andre 3000 said, in a sense, see, we all be kind of fly. So when he said that, all that means is all these great guys are great. To rank them means you have to tear another one down to pump somebody up to make them look better than the one before them.
And see, I don't necessarily think that's the case. I just think a lot of it is, again, you try to, when you do these lists, take things that are subjective out of the equation as much as possible. It's not an exact science. But certainly you try to, provide some level of context around why things are what they are. Again, for me with Tupac, I think Tupac, obviously a lot of people, when they talk about Tupac, the first thing they don't go to with Tupac is not his catalog. They go to the man and what he represented. But you got to keep it about the catalog, because the man is one thing, the rapper is another.
Okay, what album of Ice Cube's was better than Me Against the World?
Oh, for me, America's Most Wanted.
I never listened to that album. I'm just not an Ice Cube fan. I just don't like his delivery. I don't like a lot about him. I just don't. I just thought he was very 1982-ish. I've always thought that.
What about All Eyes on Me?
You talking about what? You talking about Ambitions of a Writer? Hello. I can't get
again.
That's catalog. That's catalog.
Listen, I'm saying I think Tupac has 2 all-time great albums. But again, when I look at Ice Cube and in the equation of Ice Cube,
you're adding NWA.
You said what?
You're adding NWA.
You have to include what he did with NWA as well as his solo catalog, because it matters. Yeah, you do. Think about it.
We don't add Digital Underground to Tupac's catalog.
Think about it.
I think we do, because we give credit for Scarface with the Ghetto Boys.
Exactly. Right? We give Andre credit for what he did with Outkast. We give Black Thought for credit for what he did with the Roots. Like, we give those guys credit for what they did with groups.
No. So Andre and Big Boy, to me, their solo careers have crashed. Honestly, don't get me wrong; they had great singles. I think Andre 3000 had an all-time great single. Gotcha. But their singles, they're by themselves. They haven't done anything ever.
Well, so again, technically, Andre doesn't have a solo album.
Then neither does Big Boy. Then.
Well, Big Boy had solo
albums. Big Boy has like 3 of them.
You got 4 of them.
So what was the difference between Love Below and the other?
The closest you get to an Andre solo album is the Love Below. But it's not. It's an Outkast album because it's a double album. Big Boy has his, Dre has his. They do stuff on each other's album together, but that's the closest they get to having or that Andre gets to having a solo record. The problem in the argument, particularly today, because we're such a playlist culture, is that the solo album for a lot of people is considered a dated concept. So we have to take, what they did when those albums when solo albums or albums were a big deal. And even now today, because again, we're in such a playlist culture, if a guy drops a 4-song EP LP, or he does a bunch of guest appearances over the years, which is what Andre has done, we take that into consideration of how this guy ranks as an MC. But the fact that someone doesn't have a solo album or a solo, EP, I don't think that necessarily, matters as much today as it may once did in the argument.
Okay. So 10 years ago, you don't have that same list?
Maybe
outside
not.
Maybe outside of Kendrick Lamar.
Yeah, maybe not. Yeah, maybe not. No. Yeah, 10 years ago, I didn't have Eminem in my top 10.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. So, I think that's the thing. It's, it's very fluid. 10 years ago, I did have Tupac in my top 10. So, we got to get ready to wrap this thing up. Certainly, this is a conversation we can pick up at a later time. But I want to thank you guys for joining. Really appreciate it.
Shout out to Herc and Merc and JR.
Yeah. Let's do a shout out Herc and JR, Ravens fans, for jumping on. Appreciate you guys chiming in. And, we will do this again very soon. It could be tomorrow, could be the day after that. But if you'll know if you turn on your notifications in YouTube. So don't forget to subscribe to the U3 Sports Talk channel. Don't forget to turn on your notifications, because when we go live, you'll be the first to know if you got those notifications on. So, Cisco, J Mac, thank you all again. Want to say good night. And as always, if you can't be good at it. We'll holler.
Bro.